And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken right here on BearcatJournal.com, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Go to the website, get the app. They will bring it right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop. Or you can go down to Dayton, Kentucky, Wednesday through Sunday, lunch and dinner. Time to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off of your order. All right, Aaron. It is Tuesday. That means talking about talking.
Plenty to talk about today.
I asked what I felt was a fairly simple question.
A name? Yeah.
Innocuous, an aim. It was just a question, about creating more splash plays in an offense that has lacked them. And we got a very candid Scott Satterfield. Let's go ahead and here we go. Floor's all yours.
Well, we'll I'm going to go through my notes in the order that I have them, and we'll get to that part.
Okay.
First and foremost, Coach talked about how team's well rested. In order to beat an Iowa State, you have to make less mistakes on offense. Shocker.
Yep.
That's deep. And also, you have to turn the ball over as a defense. Iowa State comes into this game having only given up 3 sacks all season. They have not fumbled the ball. That's protecting the ball at its finest. And
they take it away. They've got a defense
13 turnovers, I think.
They're up there. Especially in their wins. If you look at their wins, 3, 4, they get after it.
And they're also playing a lot of young guys. I didn't actually know that about the roster. I mean, we all know the quarterback's young, but outside of that, I hadn't gone up and down the roster to look. And apparently, playing that many young guys and to be as disciplined as Iowa State is, while turning the ball over as much as they are, and also protecting the ball as much as they are, I think that's something to be said.
Yeah, I mean, he's always had a fundamentally sound program, Matt Campbell. Last year they just didn't have any pop offensively. They played great defense. They were in 7 or 8. They lost 7 or 8 one-score games. Their offense is starting to show a little bit life under the new quarterback. They're getting things together, but they really, really get you with the turnovers. I mean, they take it away and then go get points off of that, and that is kind of their recipe for success. So yeah, and they had a rough year last year. They kind of went to a youth movement this year, which maybe hurt them early, but it seems like they're starting to play consistently better football. Even if you look at that Oklahoma score, I mean, they didn't embarrass themselves against Oklahoma. They just couldn't keep up offensively.
What's that feel like? Weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't that UC couldn't keep up offensively. They couldn't do anything offensively. So, they scored 6 points in that game. So, but Oklahoma only scored 20, and they scored 50 on Iowa State. So,
right. They also had a youth scrim.
But to point real quick, to finish that, what didn't Oklahoma do that allowed them to score 50? They didn't turn it over. And that opportunity is there against Iowa State if you can take care of the ball. Easier said than done against that defense. Go ahead. Sorry.
The younger guys had a scrimmage during the bye week.
3. He said 3 scrimmages.
Okay. I was listening at 2 times speed and taking notes simultaneously. So
I think he said they had 3 different scrimmages at the end of practice, which they're like 15, 20 minutes. They're not
not full out. It's not a spring
practice,
game.
Right.
Yeah.
But what they do is they get their work in, and then they let the young guys go for the last 20 minutes of practice to get them some meaningful reps.
Names that popped off. I caught 2 of them. I think I missed the third. But Barry Jackson and Stephen Bird being 2 guys that he even mentioned that you could potentially see more playing time for Barry Jackson, who we haven't seen since EKU, and then Stephen Bird being the first time he's really been mentioned at all. But the fact that you already have what most of us believe is a stacked running back room, which we'll get to next. But to mention him as a guy who could see some touches, I thought was super interesting.
He's a power guy. You wonder if, like, in their search to find something that works on 3rd and 1, 4th and 2, those situations, maybe that's where they're looking at Stephen Bird and saying, that's a big physical kid. Maybe he can stick his nose in there and win some of those one-on-one battles in the hole to pick up first downs.
He's got to be hungry too, in the fact that he's been here now. This is his second year at Cincinnati, and he has yet to do anything impactful. And I would imagine a guy like that would seize an opportunity if he was able to get on the field.
Yeah, that's when they have those young guy scrimmages. That's why you show out, because now all of a sudden maybe you're getting more reps with the 1s and 2s when practice resumes, as normal in the next preparation week.
Was there a third name that you caught as he would talk about the young guys?
There was, but I forget who it was.
Okay, fair enough. We'll move on to your question, where you asked basically, what can you do to create more explosive plays? And Satterfield went on to say, well, we don't have anybody explosive in the running back room, which, taken out of context, you could see as him shitting on the entire running back room. Later on, he went on, and I don't know if he was backtracking as he realized what he did, as he read.
No, I think he's just being honest. I think that's it. It's
well, and
we want coaches to be honest until they're honest.
I've talked that way as well. I mean, I'm not a stranger to saying. I asked Corey Kiner straight up, like, what can you do to make sure that you're not getting hawked on these plays where you're running 40, 50 yards and then getting caught by a DB or a safety?
And guess what? Miles Montgomery is supposed to be the home run hitter. Mm-hmm. His longest run this year is 16 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't be upset when you're not hitting home runs.
I understand.
You're not a home run hitter until you start hitting home runs.
And I think that's where I have it in my notes. That's where everything's getting misconstrued. Is he's not dogging on the running back room. He's very happy with the way that they've run the ball, gotten first downs, gotten chunk plays, but they're not hitting the home run. They're hitting for average. You're doing well hitting for average. If you want to go full on with the baseball metaphor,
they're hitting 317 with an on-base percentage of 412, but they're not scoring any runs. The guy's getting stranded at 2nd and 3rd, and it's about scoring runs. The reason I brought it up, the reason I asked the question that I did, is his offense has generally been in the top of the nation in 40-plus, 50-plus yard plays, especially runs. And we're not seeing that. Kiner had one against Eastern Kentucky. He had one against Pitt. He has not had one since. Runs over 50 yards. Hasn't had a run over, I don't think, 25 yards since then in the 3-game losing streak.
All right.
I think 22 is the one that sticks out to me. He had a 22, maybe against Oklahoma. But that's why I was asking, is it a blocking issue? Is it a scheme issue? And he went straight to the point. We have guys that have to win those one-on-ones in space against linebackers and safeties to turn 7-8 yard runs into 40-yard runs. And they're not winning those battles. And they're not showing that ability to hit home runs. And I know people are going to get worked up. I know people are going to, take it as him throwing guys under the bus or throwing his players under the bus. God knows if they don't win these next 2 games, we are going to hear a lot about, would you want to play for a coach that throws guys under the bus? I want to play for a coach that's honest. And that was honest. Now, maybe it could have been said in a slightly different way so that it didn't come across initially the way that people are taking it. That's one thing you always, as a coach, you're at the podium, you've got the mic, you've got to figure out, we do this shit.
How to dance the dance, right?
Right. So people are taking it differently than what he meant. But ultimately, the bottom line is they need more explosive plays from this offense.
Period.
And the running backs in his system are the guys that are designed to get those explosive plays. Right now, they're not delivering. And the coach said as much. And it's okay to say we're doing everything but that. Our running backs are doing everything but that. They're moving the chains.
Yeah.
They're keeping our defense off the field. They're putting Emery in advantageous down and distance situations to convert, but they're not hitting home runs. That's just the truth, the reality of the situation.
And in fairness to the rest of the offense, the passing game really isn't either. So
No,
it's not just right. The running back quote is what got taken and run with by all of social media, but it's also the passing game, and he did elaborate on that as well. So it's all facets of the game currently where we're struggling to complete the home run.
But also, to be fair, the question I asked was, while open to the passing game, was specific on the running game. Go back to the Fenway Bowl. How many 40, 50, 60-yard runs did they break on that defense in the Fenway Bowl? You get outside, you've got a running back in a one-on-one situation that gets blocked up. He makes a guy miss, and he's got nothing but grass in front of him. That's how this offense thrives. And they're not thriving the way that they to their fullest capability because the big hits are not happening in the running back room. So yeah, it's everything because they're not getting enough from the passing game either. But I wanted to know, like, this is your baby, this is your bread and butter, this running game. Why are they not hitting home runs? And he was very honest about it.
Also mentioned that the bye week came at a good point. They're about as healthy as you can expect to be at this point in the season. Got some guys who were a little dinged up back to good, and some guys who were more dinged up to maybe a little dinged up now, which is to be expected at this point in the season after 5 games.
You're almost halfway through the season. Guys are going to be beat up.
Right. Far enough in the season that you can do superlatives.
Moving on.
He mentioned that they need to complete on 3rd and short, avoid those 3rd and long situations. Obviously, continued to speak about taking better care of the ball, turning the ball over. That continued to be probably his theme throughout his 20 minutes or so, 18 minutes or so on the podium. Also said that they need to keep doing what they're doing. They're just a few plays away, which we've heard already this season. That continues to be something he's gone back to. And I don't think he's wrong in that regard. I think that when you look at the breakdown, as we've broken it down on every show that we do here, I think that's about where we're at. Also, one thing that he said I thought was interesting. He said that some players need to step up and make more plays. Now, who that is, he wasn't sure, but I think that he's demanding. Ultimately, I think it felt to me that he's demanding greatness out of some of his players that he just hasn't seen yet.
It's reality of, high level football. Players win games. Players go out and make plays. If it's, what was one of the things I talked about a bunch after the BYU game was, okay, yeah, there was the pick 6, but if Emory Jones hits the shot down the sideline to Xavier Henderson on 2nd down, Xavier Henderson's running for 40 yards, 50 yards. And now the offense is not in a position to shoot itself in the foot on that level. Like, the plays you miss impact what happens after them. And I just think that's, Emory Jones has to make that throw. Emory Jones has to drop that in the bucket to Xavier Henderson early in that game, loosen up BYU, shut up the crowd. At worst, you win field position or you get a field goal and you change the complexion where, you throw the pick six on the next play, and now you're swimming upstream for the rest of the game. Like, yeah, players have to make plays. Guess what? On defense, guys have to stop missing open field tackles. Like, I know there hasn't been a large number. Like, if you look at the metrics, like they're not missing a ton of tackles overall, but they're missing important ones. 3rd and 19 with Oklahoma at the 3, 3rd and 22 or whatever it was, or 3rd and 17 or what, the touchdown run against BYU, where BYU was conceding a field goal. We are going to run it up the middle, kick a field goal, and you miss 2 shots in the open in the hole, and he's cruising into the end zone. Make the play, and a lot of this stuff alleviates itself because they're playing well enough in some areas to win games. They're making little mistakes that are causing big discrepancies on the scoreboard. Players have to take responsibility for that.
That's pretty much everything that I took out of Satterfield. The only other thing worth mentioning, I guess, is that he believes that Shaman is merely scratching the surface of who he can be. We already knew he has the tangibles as far as the size, the speed, the hands, all of that. It's just a matter of putting it all together. So I think the best of Shaman is certainly to come.
We're getting there.
Outside of that, I'm just kind of going to lump all these 3 guys together: Emery, Dorian Jones, and D. Wiggins. I thought it was super interesting that every one of them mentioned that during the bye week, they paid attention to all the small details. 1 or 2 of them hit again on the same point that Satterfield had been talking about, in that they're just a couple plays away. They all talked about how they know what they need to improve on. They are focused on improving those things. They were all pretty much asked about the morale, and everyone said the morale's good. It's just a matter of getting focused and figuring it out. I think that you lose another game, especially to Iowa State, and make it 4 in a row. I don't know that you're going to be able to say that morale is good. And if you are, you're probably going to just be lying through your teeth at that point in time.
Yeah, I think the bye week came at a perfect time.
I agree.
Because I think it allowed everybody to kind of take a breath, because the transfers are different. The transfers are different. The guys that have been here, I talked to multiple of them, were like, man, I ain't never lost 3 games in a row in my life. Not in high school, not since I got here, not in Pee-wee ball. Like, I have no clue how I'm supposed to feel or how I'm supposed to respond, because I've never done this. Like, I've never been in this situation before. So I think it was because that you're going to get frustrated. Like, just that's human nature. Things aren't going your way. You're having things happen to you that have never been a part of your career before. You're going to get frustrated. So hopefully they were able to take a couple days after that BYU game and kind of refresh and reset the mind. And now they come back into this Iowa State game hungry. Like, we're going to find a lot out about this team and coaching staff on Saturday, because there are going to be things. They're close. They're not far off. They're a couple plays away. That if you're at 4 in a row, that stuff.
It's not just a couple plays away at that point. Now it's this is who we are.
Now it's a season on the brink, and you've only got 2 wins going into late October. That's not good.
You cost every Cincinnati fan a lot of gambling money. I don't know, just me.
I'm done. I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, I hear you. The other thing that Emery said, he did. I don't know how much I think he's protecting his guys, but he said that the Peyton Singletary throw was on him, on himself, Emery. But said that
basically said he should have got it outside and he threw it inside without directly saying that.
The only thing that I think was that he put too much mustard on it, and that's all that was. And then Kiner told him that he did need to make that catch. And Kiner admitted it was on him. And I don't know, all of those things. I agree that Kiner needs to make that catch and says that he'll do so moving forward. I just don't know that that's who Kiner is.
No, but Emery also said I probably put just a little too much juice on that bad boy.
Outside of that, though, mentioned again, just timing and accuracy need to be important. Essentially, protecting the ball against Iowa State. It seems that Emery's very aware. It seems that Dorian Jones, he said that they all need to be around the ball to turn the ball over. It sounds like they know what they're giving us anyway. Is that what they know what they need to do in order to make the things happen? It's
Right.
just a matter of execution, and that's what remains to be seen on really the season as a whole.
Yep.
So
it's up to them. Time to change the direction of the momentum.
The Shaman video is officially up and available. I did not get a chance to watch that one yet, but I'm sure it was much of the same.
A lot of it, I wanted to talk to him directly about that 2-point conversion in the Miami game. Like, does that change your confidence?
Being the switch, yeah.
Does that okay, now I'm on the board. Now I got a hit. We've been making baseball references all night.
Sure.
Like, all right, now I'm on the board. Let's see where I can go from there. He's had touchdowns in, the two big plays in the next two games. So that was kind of the direction of that interview, and then how he's handling. And he's another one that said, "Man, I ain't ever lost 3 games in a row. Like, I don't like how it feels." So
none of us do.
Go do something about it. We can't do anything about it. We talk about it. So that's what we do. I'm talking about talking, but they are in the position to go change the narrative. All right, that'll wrap it up. See you tomorrow night. This is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.